and now it should be a little bit smarter at working towards its goals. And the most important thing is we are communicating and saving all that information on chain, and now it actually has a memory. Before today, the only way to really reference the memory is to get a graph of the Farcaster social graph, which might be challenging. By storing it on Stack, we have grouped these events a little bit more intentionally into event buckets, which is going to make it easier for us to query those events. The 3 points of today's video: step 1, create the stack point system. That one was really easy. Step 2, we wanted to update Feliz Viernes to start tracking those events. We've just done that. Took a little bit longer than expected. I went down a couple other rabbit holes, and now we're going to get into step 3. We want to create a UI to visualize the data. Going back to our inspiration, we want to create this brain. We want to create it such that as new events are coming in, we see them appear. Maybe there's this kind of animation that makes it feel like it is living and that it is continuing to create. So this is going to be our next goal, is to create a UI like this. So breaking this down into smaller tasks, I wrote down we want to create a new Next app, just a basic app to hold this. Then we want to take a screenshot of Luna's brain to get an example of it. Then we'll add in the Stack SDK to fill in the functionality on that design. And finally, we'll pull the latest events. And I'll also add in a typewriter for newly pulled events. On page load, does it do it? Initial information just shows up, so only newly pulled events get the typewriter. Let's get started with this one. So step 1, let's create a new Next code base. I'm going to stop this because now we're already running. cd .. We're in Myco. Let's npx create Next app Feliz Viernes. What do they call it over here for Luna? Luna's brain? Yeah, Feliz Viernes brain. Yep. No. We're just using the defaults. Use the defaults for create Next app. While it's installing, let's go ahead and create the GitHub repository. Go back over to GitHub. Go back to Sweetman Tech. Let's create a new repo. Repositories, create a new one. Feliz Viernes brain. Let's copy what Luna's brain is. Let's inspect and see what the sources, elements, head, what's the data. We've got a title. Is it only a title? Really? It's just a title. Luna's AI brain. Let's do the same thing. Feliz Viernes AI brain. Make it public. Create the repository. Copy the Git. And now let's see if we have Feliz Viernes brain. Now we should be able to get status, and it shouldn't be connected to anything. Get remote-b. We don't have any. Get remote add origin. Paste our Git URL. Now we'll get push origin main. After we push, let's get it set up to Vercel so that it's all ready. If we refresh here, we should have a fresh create Next app. And so now we can go over to Vercel. And let's add a new project. Switch it over to my organization. Feliz Viernes' brain. It already knows it's next. We should be able to just deploy. And before I keep moving, I'm also going to hook up the URL right now. So I'll go over to my Squarespace domain. And I'll find myco.wtf, and we're going to make it the domain that is expected inside of Feliz Viernes' requirements. We should have myco.wtf. Should be Feliz Viernes with an S. So we'll try this. We're going to set up felizviernes.myco.wtf. Manage my domains. Go to myco.wtf. Go to DNS. Add a record. Go to the dashboard. Settings. Environment variables, domains. Brain.myco.wtf. Let's keep it simple and just call it brain. No. Feliz Viernes, that's more complex. We want to keep it simple. Brain.myco.wtf. Let's keep it there. Let's start with that. CNAME brain is the only thing we need to add. So we'll add a brain CNAME. Save it. Now if we refresh, it should show us blue. We're looking good. I'm going to let this stay. I know it's not fully ready, but we'll keep moving on. So now if we go over to brain.myco.wtf, we should be able to see a next site running. It might not have its HTTPS, in which case we got to change this to HTTP. But in any case, we've now got a next page running. So we now have create next step. That was our first step. Now let's add in our V0 designs. So if you're not familiar with V0, V0 is an awesome prototyping tool, and I'm going to use it. I usually use it to do exactly what I'm going to do right now, which is taking the designs from an existing web page and using them to build my own app. So you can see here this page is already not great for mobile UI, so we will follow their example and not focus too much on mobile. I'm going to take my video off of this screen real quick so that I can get, my main goal is to get one iteration. So right here. And we'll take a screenshot of this. Throw it into V0. Please create a status page for my AI agent, Feliz Viernes. Include low-level planning, include time-based event feed of previous agent actions, Typewriter effect for new events to show up, terminal aesthetic. Let's see what it gives us for that. Loving it already. Love what it gave us here. I think this is great. How can we see it on different screen sizes? Can we, this is awesome. Look at that, and it gives us this typing out. And it's adding in these different events. I think this is awesome. This looks great. Okay, so we'll go over to the status page, copy this code. We don't need this one open for the time being. We do need to open up Cursor on our new Feliz Viernes Brain code base. I'm not going to worry about a full requirements doc on this. I'm just going to make it instructions because I've kind of gotten myself reliant on having instructions. 1, implement v0 design. And so now we'll implement the v0 design by going over to the page, and we should be able to just copy and paste it. Is that true? We need to install a package, so we'll npm I lucid react, but that should be the only thing missing, and hopefully after this we can just run it. Try yarn dev. Let's go to localhost. What happened? Localhost 3000. There we go. Now it's running. Compiling. Compiled. Excellent. Now we should have an up and running page. Looking great so far. Let's commit this initial design, and then we'll start integrating some functionality. Let's go ahead and check out to suites/init. Let's add all these changes. I add initial v0 page design using Luna AI Brain as a template. We'll commit that, publish the branch. Let's go back to the GitHub pull request. We'll open up a pull request in the GitHub. Going into main. It's only been a couple files changed. I already don't like how cluttered this is. I like our files to have less than 100 lines, and we have more than 100 lines. It's not a major deal. I am gonna start to make this a little bit cleaner though. We will do that in the next pull request. It's only a couple lines over 100, so I don't need to worry about it too much. And open it up on Vercel. We'll inspect it, make sure we're testing the latest version. Looks like it's already deployed. I want to make sure I'm on the latest. Looks like I'm on the latest and it was deployed less than a minute. It's doing everything I expect. It's looking great. Looking great. How's it looking on mobile though? Mobile, it even looks better than Luna does. This, you don't at least have the side scroll like you do on Luna. We're going to call this one complete and we're going to ship it. Merge it. And so in about 45 seconds, if we go to brain.myco.wtf, we should be able to see these current designs implemented. After this, we will have implemented the v0 screenshot, and then we'll move on implementing the Stack SDK, and we'll pull the latest events using Stack SDK and show them on the screen. And we've already even added the Typewriter for newly pulled events, so we should not even need to do anything with that. We're on the last step. This is hopefully the last step of today, which is just implement Stack SDK and then pull the latest events. I'm very excited to get this out the door. We have the UI already showing. We have the AI is actively tracking right now. We can go into Stack and see we're at 152. We just jumped up another to 184. It's actively sleeping. When was the last time it slept? Is that accurate? 13 minutes ago? an hour ago, 13 minutes ago. I guess it's not sleeping much, which doesn't sound right. Let's view all. 13 minutes ago, is it no longer doing anything? We'll want to check in with that in a bit. "19 minutes ago, that's a long time." We're live. And we see it. Okay. Let's go ahead and implement Stack SDK. So we'll go back to the instructions, implement v0 design, add Stack SDK, 3, create lib to get latest events for display latest events in the UI, and then step 5, pull for new events. Please implement only step 2 using @stack SDK, create a new lib for the Stack client and a new lib for the Stack client. So we'll go over to create a new folder called lib, and then inside of lib we'll make a new folder called stack, and inside of here we'll make a new file called index.ts, and this is where we will apply, blindly accept it, crash the server, install the package, yarn and PMI package name. Now we need both of these two variables, API key and point system ID. We'll add both of those into a file which does not exist yet. The new file is going to be called .env.local. And inside of that, we'll add both of these two variables, API key as well as stack point system ID. I will pause I'm going to cut while I go get my environment variables. Be right back. It looks like the code was wrong, so we'll fill in the contents to create a Stack client using @stack SDK. That's looking better. I already installed that. I don't know why it's still telling me that it's not installed. And in this case, I need to make the next public because of how I built the app. Or I make it an API, which is safer, so let's do that. Stack API key, stack point system ID. I don't know why it's complaining about us not having this. Let me verify inside of package.json. We've got stack so JS core. So this is incorrect. Let's just spin up yarn dev. That should get it to work. So now that we've got the stack info, now we need a 3 API endpoints to get latest events using Stack SDK. Create lib to get the latest events using our new API. This is going to be called /API/stack/events. /API/stack/events. Please implement step 3. New folder stack. New file route.ts. There we go. Accept it. No errors. Looking great. We've got everything in here. Now we'll go back to instructions. Please write a lib for step 4. Cancel generation, global search of the code base. While it's doing that, let's commit init API routes /API/stack/events. Git. Commit that, sync it, go over to our events file, which does not exist. Lib stack new file events.ts. Inside of here, we apply blindly whatever it wants. Get latest events. That's fine. Creates an async endpoint, makes a GET request, handles error gracefully, returns the data. You can use this function like so. Let's now go back to our instructions and let's say, please implement step 5 to use the @events should be an events.ts, but I guess it doesn't see it. Get latest events. Blind accept. Let's see what it does. Let's refresh the page. It looks like it compiled the API. We're getting an error for stack API URL. So I'm going to go in and try to fix my API keys. I have a feeling I've mislabeled them. I'm going to cut here. Okay, so this is not a valid function. Let's highlight a bunch of it and tell please fix using @stack. Okay, we're now getting events in a new way. Okay, it doesn't seem to be doing it correctly. Let's just go into the stack docs and do it ourselves. Stack.so for developers, docs. Using the SDK, we want to get events. Yeah, I guess I didn't want to wear order by timestamp. I wonder if order by exists. It might not exist. Limit offset build, limit offset build. Looks like we got a 200 now instead of a 500. Events.map is not a function. We're getting closer. Let's go back to the page and let's see where we're getting fetch events, get latest events, console.log latest events. We've got 50 events. Set events. Latest events is an object and it has events inside of it, so we should do a latest events.events. And we'll do the same thing out here for my log. Latest events has another nesting of dot events. I don't know if that's true. Nope, this time it's undefined. Okay, this time we got latest events as an array of 50 events. Cannot read undefined reading length. Events.length. Let's find out where we're using length. 4 places. Events.length is greater than 0. Events.length. Where is it specifically? If events.length current time dot message dot length. Okay. Probably because the message is not actually there. We want event.metadata dot depending on the event. Okay, use effect current timestamp event dot metadata dot content. Yeah, okay. Use effect set current text as that. Well, I mean, so we could just say dookie, 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 dookie. Let's try that. I'm confused. Forgot a dot. Should clean it up a little bit. Okay, we're at least seeing a page now. We should have keys, that's fine. What's the other error? Hot reload. Got a whole bunch of event logs in here. Let's try zooming. Event.message does not exist. It should be event.message metadata.content. Or sleeping. Okay, we're making a little bit of progress. Looks like we go back in time as we scroll further down. And so this should be the latest. Event 0 should be the latest event. Current state. What is current text? Current text is events 0. Or sleeping. Whole bunch of undefines. Let's refresh. Sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. Whoops. What did it have in here before? Current index is less than, I think I understand now, events. We should hopefully print out sleeping here. We do not. Events 0 metadata content const text equals or sleeping. And then we say text text.length, and same thing here, text current input. Hopefully now we are seeing the correct sleeping. There we go. Okay. We're now seeing the logs. I'm not seeing any new messages. The last event was at 3:13. Let's see what these errors are. We see a key on line 83. Let's fix these errors real quick. Fix client error. Save that. Did we get rid of all of our errors? We've still got 2 errors. Client error. I don't think that's it. It's missing a key and page. Let's go back to page. And on line 83, Got a key. We've already got a key. Each should have a unique prop, I agree. Is event.id not a thing? Event.id is not a thing, so we'll use event.metadata.unique.id. Event.metadata.unique.id. Any better now? No more errors.